2022 predictions of the Premier League is here, and I'm going to cover all 10 games and predict them all. Hopefully correct. Starting at St James's Park, Newcastle United versus AFC Bournemouth. Now Newcastle, they have a high chance of winning this game. Number one, Newcastle have won their last 8 games in all competitions. That is brilliant. And everything is clicking. I could talk for ages talking about Newcastle. This video would go on for too long. Newcastle are just brilliant. Isak's on form. And not just him, Murphy. This is his best year, in my opinion, ever. By far his best year. Jacob Murphy. And Newcastle, at home, facing a Bournemouth side which is missing Unal and Evanilson, 2 of their main strikers, and they're missing Senesi in the defence, they're missing Arejo in the defence as well. They're missing quite a few players when Newcastle have got a fully fledged starting 11, everything's cooking, and Newcastle surely are going to win this. I think Bournemouth are going to give it a good go, and they did well to get a draw against Chelsea. And I think it will be tight, but Newcastle. A bit shaky at times against Wolves. I think Wolves probably deserved a goal. But overall, won at 3-0. Won against Arsenal in the Cup. 2-0 Newcastle United. Sorry, Bournemouth. But considering all the injuries you have, and considering how well Newcastle are, and you have to travel all the way from the south to the north to Newcastle upon time, you've got no chance. Moving over to the London Stadium, it's West Ham United versus Crystal Palace. London derby, isn't it? And West Ham United, out goes Lopetegui, in comes Graham Potter, and straight away, West Ham win. I mean, they only had 4 shots, 3 on target, and they scored 3 goals. But at the end of the day, a win's a win, even if the opposition Fulham probably deserved at least a point in that game. They capitalised on Fulham's silly mistakes. They defended well enough. But against Crystal Palace, I don't think they will. I think Palace did well to get a 2-0 win, but you could say Leicester deserved something in that game. It was quite a close game, and Palace are slowly moving up that table, and they deserve to, because I think they're a quality side. West Ham, they're on a bit of a manager bounce, and in this game, they are not losing, just because they're going to be bouncing back after that positive win against Fulham, and they're also at the London Stadium, and also between these two sides, I would say on paper, they're quite equal. So I definitely see this as a draw, and they're quite similar in the table in terms of position. Honestly, I can't really split it. It could genuinely go either way. 1-1 between West Ham and Crystal Palace. It could go either way though. At the G-Tech Community Stadium, it's Brentford versus Liverpool. And I said Liverpool would win against Nottingham Forest, and they didn't, they drew. But you know what? Comparing that game to the last few games that Liverpool played, like comparing it to the Tottenham game and the Man United game, I would say that game is much better. I mean, especially in the second half. When Tsimikas and Jota came on, they had like 13 shots within the last 25 minutes of the game. That's brilliant. I still don't understand, even before that game, why he doesn't start Jota down the middle. I think he should start Jota down the middle, Diaz on the left, Salah on the right, and that attack will be threatening. And going against a Brentford side that doesn't defend particularly amazing, I can definitely see their side getting absolutely battered. Because if Liverpool do what they did against Nottingham Forest and create the amount of chances that they did against them, then I think they're going to be able to take them a bit easier and actually score them. Because in my opinion, Brentford's defence is nothing like Nottingham Forest's defence. So if Liverpool can do what they did against Nottingham Forest, I can definitely see Brentford's defence getting destroyed by Liverpool. I'm only going to go for a couple of goals though. 2 to Liverpool and 1 to Brentford. I still have to credit Brentford for going on the comeback in the second half against Man City to make it 2-2. Well done. To the King Power Stadium, it's Leicester City versus Fulham. You would think Fulham would win this, but I've got a funny feeling. Leicester, they look quite good. You know, to get past the Palace defence, yeah, at times, to make some clear-cut opportunities, the amount of times they did that against Crystal Palace was a lot. And on another day, they could have scored. 100%. They created like 21 shots. And the way it's going for Leicester, after that game, I would say there's a bit of positivity in the way they play. And going into this game, surely it can't be another loss in a row. Surely they're going to put in the maximum effort, especially when Fulham are making silly mistakes. Full credit to Fulham though, they have been sensational this season, but they have made silly mistakes, especially in the last game. And overall Fulham have dropped points against the lower teams, and I can definitely see them dropping points. Not fully dropping points though. They are going to get something, Fulham, after Leicester still don't look amazing, but the performances are improving for Leicester. Just need to get those results, and I think they will, especially at the King Power, and especially what I saw against Crystal Palace, and especially with Fulham making silly mistakes like that and dropping points against the lower sides. I think they will. I'm going for a 1-1 draw at the King Power between Leicester and Fulham. And can I say, Fulham have drew a lot of games in recent time, so a draw makes sense. Moving over to the Emirates Stadium, it's the Gunners versus Aston Villa. Aston Villa have been busy in the transfer market. They've brought in Milan. And you know what? I think that is a perfect signing for Aston Villa. I know they've got players in his position, but he's got Champions League experience. He's played at the top level of German football. He's around the age where he'll be in his prime. And if you think about it, Aston Villa this season have suffered from tiredness from the Champions League. So to have that extra player to fill in when players are tired and that extra depth, I think is a brilliant signing. But Aston Villa are facing the Gunners, and I feel like the Gunners can definitely win this one. What I saw against Tottenham was really good. I really liked the way they played their football. The intensity was there. Again, I don't think the finishing clinical ability was there. It's really no different to when they played Newcastle. So I feel like Arsenal will get a goal for a set piece, for a corner, let's say. That's a classic Arsenal goal, isn't it? Maybe this time it would actually be a corner from what they're scoring at, because against Tottenham, it was definitely not a corner. But anyways, they'll probably score from a corner, and they'll probably have loads of chances, but miss a load of them. But the defence is still good despite some injuries in it, and they'll hold Aston Villa off with that one goal. Aston Villa will be pushing, they'll be creating chances, playing great football, but they won't be able to get a goal against Arsenal. Might hit the post a couple of times, but that's about it. And I'm thinking, especially at home, 1-0 to Arsenal, especially the way they played against Tottenham and the way they have been playing. All they need is Saka and a striker to come in, and they're good, Arsenal, and this would be more comfortable. Moving to the mighty City ground, it's Nottingham Forest versus Southampton. Right, talking about Nottingham Forest again. The comments have been crazy on how I always get them wrong, and I got them wrong again. I said Liverpool will win, and they didn't. Nottingham Forest proved me wrong again, and they drew. So this time, I'm definitely going for a Nottingham Forest win, especially when Nottingham Forest are playing last place. To be fair to Southampton though, they did give it a good shot and they did take the lead and nearly made it 2-0 at one point. And they had some good chances. And this Sulemana chap, he looks really fast. Running down the left flank into the middle. He looks like a really good gem for Southampton. And Tyler Dibling looks really good in his dribbling, and they will create a lot. But it's against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest are just the beasts. Easy 3-0 win to Nottingham Forest. I'm not going for any upsets, especially how I always say Nottingham Forest to lose, and they seem to prove me wrong. So 3-0 Nottingham Forest. Everton at Goodison Park versus Tottenham Hotspur. David Moyes had come in, but I find him a very similar manager to Sean Dyche on the way he plays. Obviously, he was there for like 11 years or something at Everton, so I think he knows the ins and outs of the club, and I think Everton will stay up. I was concerned with the sacking of Sean Dyche because I didn't know who was going to come in, but David Moyes came in, so I think it's going to be fine. I think he's done it with West Ham, he's done it with Everton in the past, and he's done well, so I think they're going to be fine this season. But in this game, I think Tottenham are going to be wanting to bounce back, like massively, especially against the Everton side, which each time they try to push up against Aston Villa, they just lost it. Each time they're in the final third, easily lost it. They need to learn how to play football, and considering the games are quite close together to the games that have just gone by, I don't think Everton are going to have time to change it up. So I think it's going to be another similar performance like it was against Aston Villa, and Tottenham will win this 2-0 away from home, as they've still got some great attacking threat, Tottenham. And this is a much easier game to the last game against the Gunners. Now into a nice tasty matchup. It's at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United versus Brighton and Hove Albion. Looking at this game, this seems really hard to predict. I mean, Manchester United, ever since that 2-2 Liverpool draw, you've been playing pretty well. Against the Gunners in the Cup, in the FA Cup, you didn't do too bad. You obviously won it on penalties, but you had a good performance, and you got a draw, essentially, against the Gunners, and the draw against Liverpool. You drew against first place and second place in the Premier League. If you're a Man United fan right now, you should be really pleased with yourselves. And then, obviously, it wasn't a perfect performance against Southampton, but eventually, Man United, you got it over the line, and Amad Diallo came in clutch with the hat-trick. Wow, Diallo. Brilliant. 3-1 Man United. Wasn't too shabby, and the last 3 games, they've been doing pretty well. I don't see them losing it. I think the positivity from the Southampton win, the positivity of getting a draw against both first and second place is going to be enough. I think they're good enough to get a point, especially when they have home advantage facing Brighton. Still, Brighton, you did very well, especially in the second half, to get the win over Ipswich Town. And that is a must-needed win. But before the win, Brighton, you did have 4 draws in a row, and you seem to draw a lot. And honestly, I can't go for a Man United win because I don't think they're properly fantastic. They're getting better, but they're not quite there yet. And Brighton are still a quality side. And after getting a win against Ipswich, I think it's going to be enough positive to run off of for Brighton to also get something. I'm going to have to go down the middle. Honestly, there's been a lot of Desmonds in recent time in the Premier League. And this Desmond Tutu chap is coming in this game. 2-2 between Manchester United and Brighton and Hove Albion. It's going to be quite a close affair. To Portman Road, it's Ipswich Town versus Manchester City. Ipswich Town, you did lose it against Brighton, but it was 0-0 at half time, and you did give it a good shot. There was a few crucial chances that you had. And facing Man City, it's going to be a really tough one, even at Portman Road. If we look at it, Man City, obviously they were on their downfall, but the last 4 games in the Premier League, they haven't lost. They did look very good on the attack, like Phil Foden's now starting to score. Kevin De Bruyne, what a pass to Phil Foden, by the way. They're starting to perform, but it's not perfect still. It's not the Man City we know, because they bottled a 2-0 win. And not just that, in the second half, when Brentford was on the attack, Man City looked a bit sluggish in their pressing. They weren't pressing in the right areas against Brentford. And it looked too easy to Brentford to play their football around them. And that's not the Man City we know. So Ipswich have a chance, but I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think Man City have gotten better to the point where they can win against sides like Ipswich that are in a relegation battle. Brentford was hard at the G-Tech, but I think Ipswich is going to be a bit easier. I think Man City are going to keep this up. I just think they've got too good of a side. And Ipswich, maybe if you had a better performance against Brighton, that would have influenced me to maybe make it a bit of a closer scoreline. But I'm going 3-1 to Manchester City, pretty comfortably, but not seriously comfortably. I still feel like Ipswich would give it a good go, considering Man City still aren't back to their normal selves. They've still got a bit of problems here and there. Over to Stamford Bridge, Chelsea versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Obviously, Wolverhampton Wanderers busy in the transfer market. Agabadu, I definitely butchered that name. He wasn't too bad against Newcastle. I know Wolves have lost 3-0 back-to-back, but against Newcastle, they at least deserved a goal. And the first goal by Newcastle, you could say was a bit lucky, but still great by Isak, and I'm very happy. But you could say on another day, especially near the end of the game, Wolves probably deserved a goal. And I don't think it was terrible performances against Nottingham Forest and Newcastle. And with Cunha now properly back, and I'm sure he's going to this time actually start, because he didn't start against Newcastle, he came on off the pitch. But it's another tough game, because Chelsea, they haven't won for a while. And usually when a big club like Chelsea, which has won loads before they went on a bit of a downfall, usually that means they haven't got a win for a while. They will get back on winning ways because of how good the side is. And the side is really good. Nicholas Jackson's really coming together, and Cole Palmer is consistently scoring. So Chelsea are due a win, and Wolves have lost 3-0 in the last 2 games. Sorry, but to me this looks like a Chelsea win. 3-2 to Chelsea. That's right. I think Chelsea will concede 2 goals. Because I've seen some mistakes now and again by Chelsea, and the defence hasn't exactly been quite tight. I mean, look at it. Sanchez in goal gives the ball away quite a bit this season, and he did it against Bournemouth. And overall, with Cunha back, I think it can hurt Chelsea's defence. But still, Chelsea, they're going to be able to get a winning ways, especially at home. But moving on to goal of game week 21, and I'm actually going to give it to Phil Foden. I mean, I think it's because of the Kevin De Bruyne cross. What a pass. Surely one of the passes of the week. And Phil Foden, that looks harder than it looks. What a goal. But how did I do in game week 21? There's no fancy graphic, unfortunately. But I can tell you, I got 5 points out of 20 points. That's back-to-back weeks where I've got 5 points. Not amazing, a bit meh you could say, but still, it's alright. That does put me on 115 points out of 418 points. Not brilliant. I'm pretty sure I'm doing worse than last year at the moment. But hopefully that can change. Hopefully your new year's going fantastic. And hopefully, if you did enjoy the video, why not check out this next video that I'm about to show you. Toodle pip!